this video, we're going to look at all of the attacking possibilities that black has against white after e4, e5, knight f3. We've got multiple games to look at. Let's get started. After knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6, knight g5. And I wanted to take a moment to look at a line bishop c5. This is a line that looks like it is bad, but it can be quite good for black if white isn't careful. To show, the most natural looking move is knight takes f7, because you're forking the queen and rook. But the problem is, black has a lot of time for an attack of his own. Bishop takes f2 check. And now if king takes, knight takes e4 check. And on king e1, queen h4 check. g3, knight takes. And after you take back, it begins to become clear that black has a lot of play for allowing the initial sacrifice. I'm not quite sure if white is better in this position. So that being the case, after bishop c5, I recommend just simply winning the pawn and retreating. Now you'll be able to castle and simply be a pawn up in the resulting position. This is my recommendation for facing the two knights variation, Traxler. Let's look at the next line. After e4, e5, knight g5, d5. Now there are a few different variations with the four knights main line. After he takes, what if knight takes d5? This is definitely a bad move because of a sacrifice. Knight takes f7. And after king takes, check. And it seems like black can hold on to the extra piece, but his king is in a lot of danger. So we continue to put pressure on the weak knight. Open up lines for attack. Pinning his knight. Got to keep the pressure. Keep his king in the middle. Finally, after castling, bad things are happening to black. Notice how every single one of white's pieces are in the attack. And with the black king stuck in the middle, this is where the tension is at its peak. Black tries to run, but now it's too late. White wins two pieces, and with it, eventually the game. So keep in mind this variation with knight takes d5 is not good, but you need to play actively, aggressively, and quickly. So after e takes d5, another variation that we should consider is knight d4. We attack the knight, attacks our bishop, run to f1. And it looks like a lot of trades are going on. The bishop comes back into the game, and after queen f3, we have a very solid position for white. Stopping this is so important, this checkmate idea. Getting rid of his strongest minor piece. Once we've done that, notice if the rook takes the queen, the bishop takes his queen. We're very much wanting to trade down with our extra piece, and white was able to win this game easily. Knight d4 is a move to be taken very seriously. So be sure to go through this variation a few times. Because the next line, b5, will be the exact same as the line above. Because after bishop f1, knight d4, c3, knight takes d5, we get the exact same position by transposition. We just used a different move order to get there. The first three moves were inverted. So again, be sure to look at that line with knight d4 seriously. So now for the main line, knight a5. Check. And a key move, bishop d3. And the idea is that When this knight is attacked, we have a great square to go to. And we're very quickly going to be able to put our pieces on aggressive squares, and we're simply going to be a pawn up. And I very much like this game because white played aggressively, and he makes it look simple to win this type of game. And with many extra pawns, white begins to slowly push them. And this was a game between two grandmasters where white won easily and black resigned. Next, let's take a look at the Italian game. When bishop c5 is played, we need to play the move c3. And the structure that we're going for, be sure to remember this move, as we don't want our best bishop to be taken by this knight, is to put our pieces in this situation. This is the picture we want to remember for the Italian game. It is most flexible because our knight is going to be able to journey to get to a good square. We get rid of his best bishop, and after knight g3, we're going to be attacking very quickly, opening a spot for the queen. And after queen f3, black clearly has problems. d4, now the knight's getting weaker. After c6, if he doesn't trade down, he's going to lose a piece. And this is a gradual game where white has an advantage because we can begin to attack squares. This is an overview of the Italian. Next, let's look at the Petrov. We take the pawn, keeping in mind that this is a big mistake. White to move. Pause your video. Find the tactic. Hopefully you found queen e2, and when the knight moves, knight c6, winning the queen. So going back, after knight takes e5, the best move for black is d6. And after knight takes e4, knight c3. This speeds us up with developing our pieces. Now we have castled on opposite sides. And in opposite side castling positions, we want to use our pawns to rip open our opponent. In this game, between two grandmasters, white elected to slow down black's attack, trade off, and slowly improve his position. I very much like this game because white did very little but began his attack. When he wins a pawn, he just calmly trades down and uses his extra pawn to win this rook and pawn endgame. The extra pawn is crucial for winning here. And black resigned, because white's king is eventually going to make it up here, because this pawn will distract black's king and rook. Fox in the chicken coop. The last game we'd like to look at is the Latvian gambit, f5. Now this is a reverse king's gambit and can be very nasty if you don't take it seriously. We take the pawn because it's free. After knight c6, d4. And we need to follow these moves almost exactly. Because black builds a big center, but we have an extra pawn. And once we've doubled rooks, white clearly has advantage with his bishop pair and open file. White went on to win the game. Now this was an overview of your e4, e5 lines.